hours and hours. What people right here understand is that our homes are more vulnerable to flooding. And we flooded in Hurricane Isaac, Tropical Storm Allison, and in some cases just even from afternoon rainfalls. And I know personally our most prized asset, our most expensive asset in terms of hard assets is our house. It's where all of our money is. And to see our home increasingly threatened to flooding, increasingly more vulnerable whenever that's where all of our money is tied up, it's heartbreaking. Because what's in a home? The home is where all your family heirlooms are, it's where your photographs are, it's where you live. And to have experiences like we did in 2012, when Hurricane Isaac came in and sent in floodwaters that largely caused devastation of everything, is absolutely heartbreaking. And so to have flood insurance rates going up and up and up on top of the fact that we had to gut our homes, rebuild our homes, and continually thinking about that threat of flooding and the security threat that it poses to our families. Again, it's heartbreaking. So this project, as was noted, actually started over 40 years ago. Think about that for just a minute. That is absolutely unbelievable. Over 40 years ago. And President Obama did, to his credit, come in and kick this project and say, look, y'all have got to finish this thing. They studied it for over 40 years. And so it did get a chief's report, which is ultimately a recommendation on what's going to be done, what's going to be built. And we were able to take that recommendation and authorize it as a federal project in December of 2016 in the Water Resources Development Act. So then it became an authorized federal project. But you know what? As Colonel Clancy noted, across the United States, there are approximately $100 billion in federally authorized Corps of Engineer projects. About $100 billion. And by comparison purposes, on an annual basis, the Corps of Engineers get somewhere around the White House, and again, every White House dating back for years and years has asked for about $1 billion in construction. So think about that for just a minute. You have $100 billion in authorized projects, and you're getting about $1 billion a year nationwide in construction. You can do the inflation, and you will finish that backlog of projects approximately never. And so even when Congress comes in and we may double it and raise it to $2 billion, you still don't have the resources. And so whenever everybody was pushing for this project to be funded solely through the Corps of Engineers and looking at the Corps for all of our solutions, we started talking about diversifying funding streams. Because you know what? We're never going to be able to get all of these projects built by just waiting around. I asked a question, name a single project in the state of Louisiana that's been finished in the last 25 years by the Corps of Engineers, following only that process. And I think there's only one answer. I think it's Davis Pond in St. Charles Parish. That make a note, as you know, Senator Smith, the project actually didn't work when it was first completed. And so look, I'm not sitting here beating up on the Corps. The problem is there's a major math problem. And to make matters even more complicated, do you know how much of that $100 billion worth of backlog projects or authorized projects are in the state of Louisiana? Approximately 1/3 of them. 1/3, 50 states, we have over 30 billion of those. I mean, so just trying to paint a picture of how complicated this process is and how much of a backlog there is. And so we did begin pushing the White House, in fact, years ago, asking them to put more money in for these sorts of projects. I see Casey Tingle here, the Chief of Staff for our state Homeland Security Agency. Casey, I would love for you to be unemployed, and nothing against you, but how great would it be if we could actually just have, I know you share this, if we could just have a resilient place to live. If we can just live in a resilient area where we're not subject to flooding every time it rains or every time a hurricane comes. And so we started working with 5 different federal agencies, bringing in dollars from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, bringing in dollars from the Corps of Engineers, bringing in dollars from FEMA, bringing in dollars from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. And as of now, we've been able to bring in a total of $3 billion in new investments for flood infrastructure. But we don't earmark funds, so we have to start working with the White House and others to make sure that these dollars go in the right place. We're in a unique position right now in that we chair the subcommittee that has jurisdiction over the Corps of Engineers, oversight over the Corps of Engineers, and spend a lot of time working with them. And so once these dollars were appropriated, in fact, even months ago, we pushed the White House to ask for these dollars. But once these dollars were appropriated, we began on a regular basis, literally, at meetings with the President, the Vice President, the White House Office of Management and Budget Director, the Chief of Engineers for the Corps of Engineers, the political appointee, the Assistant Secretary of the Army, and many, many other Corps of Engineers and federal officials to talk about the importance of this project. Because you know what? This project pays for itself. And let me be clear on that. Think about the cumulative amount of money that you spent picking up the pieces, that we spent picking up the pieces from Hurricane Isaac. Think about the vulnerability of that next hurricane that potentially comes into Lake Pontchartrain and threatens our community. We cannot continue to spend billions of dollars after every single time a disaster happens. We've got to lean forward and spend millions on the front end. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here to share this with all of you. President Rowbottom has been at my 1 yard line on this project since I was working for the state and up here about getting it authorized and getting it funded. I can't overstate it, and President Rowbottom mentioned this and Colonel Clancy alluded to this. This doesn't happen. President Rowbottom noted that Duran, where are you? That Duran said that he's never seen this happen before, one of the guys at the Corps of Engineers, where a project has been authorized and fully funded in this time frame. I've been working on these sorts of things with the Corps for about 22 years, never seen it happen. This doesn't happen. And I can't express to you what an amazing day this is, what an amazing accomplishment this is, and huge thanks to all of the people, to President Rowbottom and President Cochran for their tenacity for making this a priority. We're working on a backup plan with Senator Smith and Senator Price and Representative Miller, Representative Gaines, a backup plan through some other funds through the state to make sure we had a plan B and a plan C. Their advocacy, the sheriff, look, you don't want to have that many boats and having your guys out there when this happens. You want your guys in cop cars, that's where they need to be. Taking cop cars down the street, not boats. There's so many people, the council, that were involved in making this happen. And I just met a pastor. Don't discount your prayers, because I'm telling you, this doesn't happen. This doesn't. So look. So look, just in closing, I want to say thank you to all of the people that put a shoulder behind this. Senator Kennedy, Senator Cassidy, our congressional delegation, we're very, very involved in pushing this thing. All of you in this room, the people that are truly the voice of the community, because it's your homes, it's your businesses, you're the one who is absolutely being dealt a blow when you get those higher flood insurance premium bills. That's just, it's wrong. We need to spend millions before disasters, not billions after. This doesn't happen, and it did because of all of y'all's great work, because of your prayers. Now the next move is making sure that all of us work together to make sure that this project is implemented in an efficient manner. And Colonel, I heard every word that you said very clearly, including the time frame. But I'm thinking we can shave some time off that schedule, and I'd love to work with y'all to figure out what we can do to do that. I know I got a shovel and a wheelbarrow, and I'm willing to go out there and start digging. So thank y'all very much, and looking forward to actually seeing the progress.